If you're a queer filmmaker and you're not influenced by Pasolini, then you're doing something wrong. I mean, you know, he's the master, you know, and he's, you know, also the Marxist kind of politics, which was very, very strong in the initial, you know, gay liberation movement that was Marxist influenced, you know. In fact, in Toronto in the 70s and early 80s, the gay bar rag, the kind of the gay magazine that you would find free in all the bars was called The Body Politic, and it was a hardcore Marxist gay publication, you know. So because again, I came from that era of going through the gay liberation movement as part of it, and also sometimes reacting against it when it became bourgeois or when it became kind of too capitalist, or if we saw racism or sexism or misogyny within the gay community, we would you know, speak out against it or make work commenting on it or critiquing it. So that was it was always one thing I learned very strongly from Pasolini was that the homosexuality has to be political. I mean, by definition, no matter at what stage you are in its acceptance or evolution. I mean, just as, you know, Godard said, le cool, c'est politique, you know, sex is political. I mean, Pasolini teaches you that homosexuality is political. Yeah. I mean, Genet as well. But of course, I mean, Teorema is a hugely influential film, and in fact, I did a stage work in Berlin at the Howe Theatre called Cheap Blackie, and I heavily referenced Teorema in it. This idea of a kind of hustler-like character coming into a bourgeois family and like having sex with all the members of the family and completely disrupting all the nuclear family and their kind of bourgeois ideals and their repression, and bringing out the latent family romance and all the relationships between the family members, and of course this incredible, you know, scene when Silvana Mangano finally has her great orgasm while she's driving in the car. You know, she picks up some random hustler and has sex with him, and then all her repression that has resulted from years of the family and the nuclear family and kind of the trappings of the bourgeois comes out in some big orgasmic scream, you know. So what could be more you know, more elemental than that kind of that struggle against sexual repression in bourgeois culture. And for many other reasons, I mean, Pasolini he was incredibly stylish. He was a great poet. I mean, he was so articulate. He was, just and in terms of the body as well, I mean, that is the way his camera kind of captured the essence of these kind of very streetwise kind of proletariat boys, some of them hustlers, some of them not, but he was so influenced by the aesthetics and the physical beauty and the energy of youth and of these working class boys. So that's everything I can hope for in a filmmaker, and I mean, he's the master, and I mean, Sallow is a masterpiece. It takes political critique to a level that again is almost beyond comprehension, because the way he deals with the pornographic in such a in the way of a master, creating kind of in the mise en scène and in the poetry of the movie, the visual poetry, it just becomes like a living painting. But the critique is so of fascism is just is not politically correct. It's it's so, it's still acknowledging like Liliana Cavani in The Night Porter, it still is acknowledging sexuality existing so strongly within these kind of fascist contexts, but so it's not shying away from the sexuality of it, and it's kind of presenting it in a very direct and kind of still kind of sexual way, but it's not, it's not pornography. So even though it's stimulating in some way, so it's very complex. I mean, yeah. So of course, yeah, he's a very big influence. Because of my education in film with Robin Wood and with others, it's very eclectic. I mean, it's everything from European art cinema to like Fassbinder and Bergman and Antonioni and all the great filmmakers. I love Elio Petri as well, and Bertolucci, and so many. And then Japanese cinema, because I took this Japanese cinema course with Robin Wood, so I love Ozu and Mizoguchi and Kurosawa and then also then I love classic Hollywood as well because of watching these late night movies on TV and the influence of my parents, but I also particularly am influenced and inspired by Hollywood films of the late 60s and early 70s, or right through the 70s really, which were when Hollywood finally started to deconstruct itself and the filmmakers were deflating all of the mythology that Hollywood had kind of constructed over the past, century. So it was a time when the narratives became fractured, and the filmmakers were breaking all the rules, all the conventions of classical Hollywood, and that was very influential to me. Filmmakers like Robert Altman and John Cassavetes and Frank Perry and who else? I mean, Jerry Schatzberg and Arthur Penn and all these filmmakers who are really exploding the mythology of Hollywood. And but and then I was always a huge Jerry Lewis fan. He was a huge influence on me from a very young age. And then female filmmakers like Maya Deren and Agnes Varda I've loved so much, and then also very crucially the great gay avant-garde, I call them. So filmmakers starting with Genet, of course, and Auchan d'Amour, right up through Kenneth Anger, and then Jack Smith and Paul Morrissey, Andy Warhol, Kurt McDowell, the Couture brothers, John Waters, that whole, and then even the avant-garde porn filmmakers like Peter de Rome, Wakefield Poole, Fred Halstead, Peter Berlin, they were like the ones that kind of really encapsulated all my obsessions. So they were obsessed with cinema, but they were also deconstructing cinema. They were unapologetically homosexual, but not in a doctrinaire way or in a politically correct way. They were flirting with pornography, if not even doing outright pornography. And they really were making avant-garde and experimental work. I mean, it was really toying with or making fun of or deconstructing all the conventions of cinema. That really is a huge inspiration. And Warhol, the way Warhol made these crazy formalist, gestures like Empire and Sleep, these long formalist statements is something. There's something incredibly profound about that. It's really stretching the limits of cinema, beyond comprehension on a certain level. Lullaby.